So do you know the story of the Ten Commandments, where they came from? I want to take you back about 3,500 years to this picture. You see, Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, decided that the descendants of Abraham, what we call the people of Israel, the children of God, were a threat to his power. And so he enslaved them. He put bricks in their hands and whips on their backs and appointed slave masters to make sure that his slaves never had a day off. And so God's people quickly learned the number one rule of slavery, that there is no rest. You don't work for the weekend if you're a slave, you work through the weekend. And just the thought of trying to take a little bit of Sabbath rest was a threat to those people. I mean, just attempt to put down your brick and a slave driver would pick up his whip. Just try to punch out for an early weekend and he would punch you out and you might not ever wake up for the weekend. Pharaoh insisted that their names were slaves and that's all they would ever be, and work is all a slave got to do. But then, God. All those three words changed everything about everything. But then, God. But then God showed up. But then God rescued his people with his mighty outstretched arm and his powerful loving hand. But then God changed the slaves into his sons. I wish I had time tonight to tell you all the details of that story. When God sent the plagues upon Pharaoh, when he sent the Passover lamb, when the Red Sea became the Red Seas, when Charlton Heston bellowed, "Let my people go," and God rescued his people. But here's what you need to know about the story, that God changed those slaves into his kids. He said, a slave is what you were, but it is no longer what you are. You are my sons. You are my daughters. You are my children. I'm giving you a new name, a new identity. Slave is not your name anymore. And God took his sons and his daughters to a place called Mount Sinai, and there he gave them the Ten Commandments. You would have to work 7 days a week if you were a slave, but guess what? I changed that. But then God, you're not a slave. So I'm commanding you, so you can remember your new name, to just rest. It was amazing to have you with us today. If you have any comments about God's word, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to hit subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. See, the reason you and I slave for people's approval, their acceptance, to be impressive, to be better, is because we so quickly forget what we already have.